So good morning to all of you. I hope I'm audible. So we have a very interesting session afternoon. However, usually afternoon sessions we normally feel a little bit sleepy. But again, I think I would try to put up materials, so that you would find it quite useful as well as interesting. All okay. Now, thank you very much, Naina, for introducing me. I have been in the industry for almost 2 decades, and after that, I came into teaching. And when I came into teaching, I had to learn from scratches on how to teach, and then further, to how to go for this accreditation. During my work at Karuna University, I was associated with some of these accreditations, also, which happened at that point of time. But later, when I joined here, it took some more time. Around 2015, when I joined in Naipunya, that is where we started talking about accreditation. Now, once we started talking about accreditation, we did not know how to take it forward. There was not much of actually support from anywhere, because people had a very confused idea about what this entire accreditation was. Because earlier we did not have any type of structure, but later we were able to get manual. Manual has come, and then people started understanding it in their own ways. But we had support from mentors like Dr. Anne-Marie Fernandez, and several others also. And we decided as a college, we decided that we would go for quality enhancement. So that is where we started off by around 2017. We started off this process for Naipunya Institute of Management and Information Technology. And I was a part of actually that criteria 3, and overall with all other discussions also. And when we started actually working on Naac, on the manual, we understood, that there are a lot of programs and ideas that you have to come out on how we could go and how to improve the system. So that is where we, as a team, we started working. As Father Dr. Paulachan was mentioning, it was basically a teamwork. All of us started working together, and we started interpreting with the manual. We started understanding what was written in the manual, and then that is how we took off. But of course, we had a lot of support also, even for a lot of workshops wherever possible. But those days, many institutions were not willing to share how they could do it, because only the prestigious institutions were into accreditation, and they were not willing to share on how. So we started, but still we had bits and pieces from everywhere, and we thought that we would also come out go for this accreditation. So after our visits and understanding and reading SSRs of several colleges, we also were able to work on this. So that is how it happened. In between nowadays, you would find that a lot of organizations call us asking that it is available as consultancy, it is available, and you could come for it. However, we wanted our own, because even when you appoint a consultant, the involvement of the faculty members as well as students would be very minimal. We will go according to what the consultant says and fill up some data, and then we may get an accreditation. Involvement may not be there. So we decided, even recently also, we decided that no consultant. We may not get a great, we may not get an A++, but whatever we are doing, we will do it on our own, because we as a management we thought that every one of our faculty should be empowered, and they should learn. Then automatically that involvement will come into being. So that is how we started off this accreditation process. Within 2019, Naipunya Institute of Management and Information Technology was able to get a B++ grade, and later in 2021, Naipunya Business School was able to get again a B++. Now, with the interaction which we had with the peer team, we were able to get a lot of information on how we could take this grade to a better grade later. And moreover, when we start teaching, when we start learning, we will get better ideas also. So the other day when I was asking my faculty members, they said, sir, when we started preparing for this conference, for this faculty development program, we were able to learn. So here, because we have actually a team comprising of around 82 people. Not everyone is here, but still, some of them have gone in for 3 accreditations. Some of them are planning to go for accreditation. So it is actually a mixed group. And we would like to tell you that wherever you want support from our side, we are willing to offer support in future also. We are very passionate towards this. Me and my team and the NIMIT team also is ready to support you in any way as far as accreditations are concerned. Let us try to improve the education quality of this country. But that is the reason why we conducted this FDP also. FDP was also to share whatever we have learned. So you may not get actually a perfect, but whatever we have gone through, whatever that is experience is there, we will be going through that. That is what I am planning. That is what you will find from my slides. So let us go to the first slide. Now, what are the benefits of accreditation? Dr. Anne-Marie Fernandez was basically talking about the benefits of accreditation in the morning. Now, let me add a little bit also more. Institution will identify its strengths, weaknesses, and its opportunities, and not just somebody telling you. You yourself identify through your self-evaluation. That's great, actually. Because we will know as to what all things should be improved, how we could improve. Maybe we may get consultancy also from maybe some others also to support us in this, but we will be able to understand our own strengths and opportunities. Second thing is, institutions. When I started working in institutions, I found that planning was not very important in institutions. That is what I felt the first thing when I came into, because in organizations, planning is very, very important. We have plans for everything. But even when I teach business in my business school does not have a proper plan in place. So when we started doing this Naac, we understood that we cannot dream of Naac unless and until we do not have a proper planning in place. So that was another reality that we understood. Then we will understand what are the internal areas and resources that we have in our organization and what we could create. So that is another learning that we had. As Father was mentioning also, we will be getting funds also because Naac accreditation gives a certain standard as far as the organization is concerned, and funding agencies would be very happy to share the funds also, because they understand that the organization is not just any other organization. It is an organization which is devoted to a cause. So because of that, that cost factor is something which enables you to get even funds also. And totally you would find that the organization will get a new life. That is basically the benefits. And the faculty will also learn, they will change, they will improve. Even if you want to move on to another organization, your publications will be excellent. Your knowledge of Naac would be accepted. Your knowledge of criteria will be accepted. Your knowledge of learning methods, Bloom's taxonomy, or course outcome, PSO, PU, and all those things. All these things, you will have a fair knowledge about all these things. And you will be, even a faculty member will be the most sought after, especially in other colleges, because there is a shortage of quality faculty in all our institutions. So that is the benefit, as far as faculty is concerned. Institution also grows, especially, when we work with the management. We can tell the management that you need to improve this, and definitely your intake will become better. You can improve this, and naturally your number of students that get admitted in this college also improves. So our management also will be willing to do that. Similarly, students also, they also have to be taught that this accreditation is something which is very valuable for them. They can get accreditation. Once you're studying in an accredited university or a college, they will be able to pursue their studies in accredited institutions in India and abroad. So we need to get everybody in confidence And everyone, it is not just a single person's initiative, but everyone is a teamwork. But then somewhere, you will have to find somebody has to take an initiative towards actually achieving all these. Okay, so let us go to the next slide. What is the Naac accreditation process? Okay, when you look at the Naac accreditation process, that is basically the first thing that you would start off is with an institutional information for quality assessment, IAQA. That is the first thing that you start off. So this IAQA is something which is required because that will actually give that will give actually an idea even for Naac as well as for us also to say that whether you are qualified to present actually your reports, your self-study report. So that is once in the II, when you start working on IAQA itself, you will get to know whether you are prepared for that or not. So that is the first. Then once you fail, once they are giving you that eligibility, you are eligible for presenting your data, then you have or something called as a self-study report, which is again a research that you do as far as the organization is concerned, as far as the people is concerned. So that is called as the SSR. Now when you present this SSR also, Naac, there's a partner agency for Naac, which will be going through this. And when they go through this, they may have doubts out. They will ask for a clarification. And that is what we call as data validation and verification, DVV by Naac. Similarly, during the DVV process, there will be a student satisfaction survey also, which will be happening to find out the student's reaction. And that is also a very important step in Naac accreditation. And when all these things are done, then you have basically the peer team visit on campus. Now, till this point, mostly you will find till the presentation of SSR, you will find mostly the data is basically quantitative. But when the peer team comes to the campus, you will find it is basically qualitative. So on one side, you have a quantitative data, and on the other side, you have a qualitative data. And these have to merge, or these have to be projected, or these have to be shown to those people. So there is actually a peer team visit, which would take place for 2 days in your campus. They would go through whatever that you've written. They will go through all those things, and they would find out whether all these things are genuine, all these things are correct, and whether it is valid or not. And then immediately, once they submit a report from the campus itself, and then maybe in a week or so, or maybe 5 to 6 days, you'll have your institutional grading also being declared. So after the grade is declared, sometimes you may feel that your grade is not up to the mark as to what you expect. Now so immediately you can go for an appeal. Now this appeal is this appeal is basically a formal process. Now before that, when the PTV, peer team visit, comes to the campus, they would write a report, and they would call the principal and the Naac coordinator or the IQAC coordinator for basically a clarification, because sometimes they would have low marks for some of the criteria. So they would ask you, and only with your consensus they can approve. If you feel that there is something, it is not correct, you can always tell them that it is not correct, and they will definitely listen to you, and they will convince you before they send the report. Okay, so that happens during the peer team visit. But after the grade is declared, you can again still go for an appeal. You may get almost like close to around 40 days, 45 days, for appeal. And then if you do not have an appeal, the certificate is released. Or otherwise, with appeal, you may have another PTV coming to your campus. So this is basically the process which happened for us. After the peer team visit, we did not go for appeal, and then we now the appeal time is also over. So they give you actually a response. They will give you and send a mail out asking whether you would like to go for appeal or not. This is the last day, and then shortly we will be getting the certificate. Now, something that I have to talk about Naac is, even though Naac is basically coming from the government agency, you would find that it is very, very responsive. It's a very responsive agency. Whenever you send a mail, you get a reply immediately. It is not like some of the government agencies do not respond, but Naac is not. Naac, there is a team of committed people who looks into looks into the improvement of the quality of the organization. As a result, you would find that the Naac, you get a very good response whenever you require, whenever you give a query. So, okay. Now, before you have to go for this accreditation process, the first thing that you need to do is actually you have to upload this IIQ, and for that, one of the important things that you require is basically IASHE. IASHE. IASHE is very, very, without IASHE, you cannot actually go for. I hope all of you would have gone for that. It is actually All India Survey for Higher Education. There's a portal. It was opened recently also. I think it is still open, I believe. You have to get your certificate. Without IASHE. So All India Survey of Higher Education is very, very important, and without which will not be able to go for accreditation. So that is the first thing. If those colleges or colleges which are going for the first time, you have to go for this All India Survey on Higher Education. Similarly, you need to have an IQAC also. Formerly, this IQAC, Internal Quality Assurance Cell, was called as IQAS also. Okay, you can have a quality cell assurance, but now the term is basically IQAC. So you have to establish an IQAC. Now, IQAC is when you see earlier also we used to give actually we would recommend some changes, but may not be in a formal way that we have done. But for Naac, there is something formal, and that is basically called as IQAC. So IQAC, the cell has to be there. The cell has to conduct meetings. Of course, cell constitution also, I will be coming to that later. The cell has to conduct regular meetings, and the meetings minutes have to be recorded, and this has to be worked out, and the result also has to be shown. So there should be a functional IQAC, internal quality assurance cell. And then if that is actually the first cycle. Now, if you're going for cycle 2 or cycle 3, then timely submissions of ECPARs are very much essential. Again, this is actually a document which you submit every year. Like on December 31st, you have this ECPAR submission. So because of COVID, it has been extended up to March 31st, but ECPARs are required. Now, ECPARs is actually, like giving a report of a year. SSR is actually 5 years. So you will submit ECPAR every year, and at the end of 5 years, you will be submitting the SSR. Now, those people who are going for the second cycle of accreditation, you would have filled up your ECPAR and given. But then, if you are not including something in ECPAR right now, when you go for SSR, you may not be able to include it. That means even after the SSR process, you cannot be relaxed. You have to enter that. You have to give the material. You have to ask to upload those materials on a regular basis. Once you start with the quality process, you cannot stop. Quality has to be continued. So because of that, it is essential that you need to go for this ECPAR. You have to prepare this ECPAR in a very precise way. Otherwise, later you will not be able to correct it. And there can be even possibilities that if the Naac receives ECPAR with all the details, include everything details pakka, and that too with the photographs, with GPS and all those things, then even Naac needs not, maybe a time may be there where even Naac may not visit the campus. They could do it directly from there. So even that also can be there, but now it is not there. So I'm saying that, this is actually a possibility. So ECPAR has to be given a lot of importance. Similarly, your institution may have other approvals also, like AICTE. If it's a college, you may have a university affiliation. You have to participate in IRF, National Ranking Framework. Then if you have an ISO, that also is also approvable. So all these things can have to be ready during the time of approval. During the time of preparing the SSR, we'll have to give all these documents. Also. You can give all these, but iShare is very, very essential. As was said in the morning, the validity period is 5 years. However, if you get a grade, an excellent grade of A++ or A+ in 2 cycles continuously, you may go once in 7 years. And if you get A++, you may get even good funding, even from Naac. Some of the institutions may get actually scholarships and all those things, not scholarships, seed money and funding. If you're a unique institution, you have A++ and all those things, a lot of funding also. Now, IQAC is something which is actually a part of Naac, but you have to differentiate these two. IQAC is something which suggests actually quality. IQAC comes out with new and quality measures which are required, which are suggested. For example, IQAC may suggest that there should be a yoga certificate in yoga. Okay, if that is what IQAC has suggested, then the Naac needs to understand that our Naac needs to implement it on how it could be implemented, and then the college would start implementing. IQAC is the one which comes out with new suggestions. So the person who handles IQAC should be very creative, as well as they should also be looking at about how to improve the quality. They should conduct a study periodically, find out as to what is lacking, what are the what can be improved. For example, they should have a continuous study. You can very well have continuously. You can have studies on this. You can do a research on that, and based on the research, you can improve improve based on the suggestions which IQAC can do. So IQAC's job is basically continuous evaluation to find out what is lacking and give suggestions on what could be improved. And the suggestions will be implemented by the Naac. And the ones Naac through the teachers, the students, we implement it and gets a report, and that is presented in Equa or maybe in FSR. And that is where the role of IQAC is very, very important in improving the standards. Now, IQAC also, according to the Naac guidelines, IQAC has got a very specific form, a composition also. So we did not know how it was when we went in for this SSR, for this submitting this. But later we understood. Now with the Equa, we have understood that there is a composition is also very important. Basically, there are different members. For example, you have a chairperson who is head of the institution or the principal. Then teachers have to be there, which represent, between different levels of teachers or department wise, you can have teachers to represent. One member from the management has to be there. Two senior administrative officers like finance or maybe office superintendent and all those people will be there. And one nominee from the local society, for example, from the panchayat or maybe from the MLA, or can be there. Then students, our students can be there. One student coordinator can be there because students also give suggestions. And another one is actually alumni. Now, alumni are the people who studied in this college. He moved on to another industry, and they would understand as to what was the change that has happened and what was not there in the curriculum. So alumni has got a very big role. So, and moreover, alumni should continuously interact. We should, or IQAC should interact with alumni, and alumni also should have an interactions with the students over here. With these interactions will bring in a lot of ideas for IQAC, and IQAC will be able to implement all those. Other than that, we have nominees from the employers, the companies which come to the campus, industrialists, who can give ideas on what are the type of programs that can happen, and other stakeholders from Parents Teachers Association or other stakeholders which you are connected with, that also can be there. And one of the senior teachers can be the coordinator or the director of IQAC, as well as Naac also. Now, sometimes in organizations, you find IQAC to be one and Naac to be another. In certain small organizations, you may have both as one person. Okay, Naac coordinator also may do the work of an IQAC. So, again, but in bigger organizations, you will have two different, entirely different. So that also, so ideally, it is to differentiate, because IQAC's role is enhancing quality. And they continuously study on what are the measures to improve quality. And Naac is the one which will be implementing what is the quality that has been certified by IQAC and give a report. Now, IIQA, we are now going to the IIQA process. Now, as I have told you earlier, it is to ascertain whether the institution is eligible for an assessment and accreditation or not. So, there are certain eligibility criteria also. Any college cannot just go for accreditation. So, there are basically two primary eligibility criteria which institutions have to be. One is that the institution must have at least 2 batches of graduate students. 2 batches of graduate students. Maybe if it is a UG college, it will be like 2 batches at 6 years. So either it should be 2 batches of graduate students, and it should be at least 6 years. Okay, so this criteria is important, without which you cannot go for an accreditation. Now, for IAQ also, there's an application process. Now, this application is accepted around the year. So you need not worry about that. You can always go for an accreditation. And the acquire period is usually from 1st June to May 30th. Now, my suggestion would be that before somewhere you have to start this SSR somewhere in the month of December, so that by April you will be able to complete that. That is what we have done it. Our suggestion, but not necessary if you have all the documents, and so that you will be having the documents in place regarding the previous year. Suppose if you are going for 21, we went in 21. So we had all documents up to 20 with us, and then in 21 we have done it. Okay, 21 we completed it. So that is ideal situation according to us. But you may also have your opinion. So anyway, based on that. But however, there is no leniency. Now again, the academic year is very, very important. You need to have this acquire period, academic year, that is June 1st to May 31st will be acquire. But submission will be up to 31st of December. You may get time also. Now there is a fees also that you have to pay as far as acquire is concerned. So that fees, again, I have given you some details in which it is available, but I would suggest actually that the fee should be looked into in the manual or in the Naac site website. You have to check out what is the fees, because it may change. So this is basically the fee that is there. Now, even when you make a payment for this logistics and all those things, once you qualify, whatever expenses that they have, if it is exceeding, Naac will ask you to pay those. And if it doesn't reach to that amount what you have given, then the Naac will even reimburse it. However, for IAQA and all, you need to make the payment, and you have to wait till they accept it. Once they accept, you can start with the SSR. Now, this is how you would find. Once you have this IAQ in place, you will be getting a login ID. And once you have this login ID, you will be able to start working on your SSRO. So this is basically the website. I'm sure that all of you have gone through this. You have to have, you can have either the principal as the person, or principal as well as the Naac coordinator to be in charge of this, so that you will get correct information. And this website, again, email address also, don't give the college email address which is not been opened on a regular basis. Since Naac communicates regularly, I would suggest the fact with the email address which you give should be something which is opened on a regular basis. So don't refrain from giving an address. Sometimes colleges have multiple addresses. We also have multiple addresses, and some of the emails are not opened on a regular basis, or some of them are not opened by the principal. It may be opened by the assistant or the administrator, and they may forget actually to open it on a regular basis. As a result, possibly you may be in trouble also. So ideally, the email address that you give should be an email ID which is regularly being opened. Now, after IIQA is over, I will show you the IIQA as well as SR last. So before that, let me try to explain as to what are these things, and I will show you that. Now, self-study report. is basically the primary document. This is actually, this contains actually a lot of question. And our job, the college, the faculty's job, the principal's job, is principal is responsible. Maybe somebody else may be doing it, but but the principal is responsible to answer all these questions on a according to the to answer all these questions in the according to the criteria which is laid down. Sometimes there will be restriction for even words also, 500 words, 200 words, and you cannot exceed even one word because the system will not accept it. So again, you will have to work on the report, type it out, language correction has to be done. And once you do all these things, and then exact number has to be there, and then only the system. It is not basically somebody is accepting it. It is basically system. So the system will not accept something when there is a small change in the number or anything. So always try to have the numbers out. Similarly, when you give the numbers of students or some of these, then there also you may have to be very, very pakka with the numbers. If you are not correct with the numbers, then possibly you will be in trouble. Your numbers, especially with the audit statements, or whether it is the student admissions, student placements, or faculty numbers, you have to have the correct number. Now, in certain cases, you may give these numbers across to AICT. You may give these numbers to AICT. Now, or maybe another affiliate, another approval center. In that case, you have to show all those because there is a verification. You cannot have two different reports. On one report having one number from AICT, another one in UG, in Naac, you are giving another one, because everyone requires every report, every number that you give has to be substantiated with proofs. So it is important. Okay, now it takes almost a year for the college to prepare a year report, that is SSR. So because you may prepare a report, review it, again, work on the format, you may improve on the language, you may improve on the word correction, you may improve the content, and you may not be able to give. Sometimes there will be long answers, but like examinations, when we answer, you have to give even points. You have to give certain specific points, because then only you will get marks. I will show you again when I tomorrow when we go for criteria. I will tell you as to what all things that we have included in the report. So this was actually a process which I had to really struggle, because when I started writing earlier, we could write actually paragraph, pages and pages of criteria, but it is nowadays it is not like that. For example, you cannot have any gas into that. It has to be real steel. So you need to be specific on what you write. You cannot write anything and everything in a report. The number, words, number of alphabets, the spacings, that is also important. At the same time, you have to cover what you are supposed to cover. So again, that calls for some sort of technical writing also. It is not difficult. You can always learn it very easily also. It is not at all difficult, but it takes little bit of experience, to learn this particular style of. So it takes almost. That is the reason why they say that it takes almost a year to prepare this document. Okay, because you may have to get a lot of material also. For example, like reports. That again, every report has to be signed and sealed by the competent authority, the HOD. So that is so it takes some time. It's not easy, and sometimes we would not have kept all the records in one place. Maybe with many people. Sometimes we have several coordinators for different programs, and the reports may be with somebody else. So with Naac, what we have learned is, what to keep all documents one place. That was another learning that we had. Keep every document in a single place, because when 5 years reports, when you make, you may miss some of them. I had a habit of actually keeping all the photographs in my computer as well as in my hard drive. That actually gave us opportunities to project. If I had not done it, I would not have been able to do even Naac accreditation. So it is important that you keep all the records. Okay, whatever you have done, photographs, all those things should have been there should be there. Okay. Then you have to identify what is the best practice. You maybe 2 or 3 years back, you would have started with best practice, something outstanding for the college. That has to go for your best practice as well as institutional distinctiveness also. So that is again, you have to identify which you have done for the last so many years. What is the activity you've done? Another one. Now, once you prepare the SSR, you are uploading it in the Naac portal and with the fees and all those things. And then you start getting it. And this has to be uploaded within 45 days also. And if you do not do it on time, again, you will have to start. So you get only 45 days after the upload, after uploading the IAQ. So this is 40. So before IAQ itself, keep all the documents ready, because you don't get a lot of time to work on your. So prepare the documents ahead, get ready for IAQA, apply for IAQA, and after IAQA, you have got only just 45 days. So on time, it has to be. Sometimes, if you don't prepare, some of the colleges I've heard work midnight to see that that what is complete. So it is not required. You can actually create this material well in advance. That is the reason why that 1 year. Don't postpone it tomorrow. 1 year, take time, prepare all the documents, go for the IAQA, then start uploading. Even that itself will take time, because everything has to be hyperlinked and then uploaded. I will talk about hyperlink also later. So that is also required. So for that, you need to have time to present it. Then the next one is, this is basically the process that happens in IAQA. Then SSR, based on the DVV is presented. Then they will ask DVV has to be answered within 15 days. And after 15 days, within 15 days, you have to submit the clarification. Again, responses. Again, if there is any more required, they may again ask for it, ask for DVV, maybe a second level verification. We had only one level of verification, and after that, it was maybe a second level also can be there. And if it is not there, they may give you 0 marks also. Then finally, DVV final report will be submitted to Naac. DVV partner will ensure that your data is correct, because when you use the software, whatever numbers that you give in IAQA, you will never be able to change subsequently. That is again first time when you do the IAQA, please be very careful about whatever numbers that you give in the IAQA, that will come automatically in the SSR in certain specific places. For example, you've given faculty number of 10 in IAQA, right? And then when you go for SSR, you find that there are 11 people. You cannot do that. So, but again, during the IAQA, you are actually submitting the AICT or whatever supporting documents you're giving, or from your HR department, you're giving it. So no problem. If you do that, it is not an issue. You cannot change anything from the IAQ. Whatever numbers that you give in IAQA, that will come automatic. Really, the finance, for example, when you submit the account statement, then the value, excluding salary, or all these type of figures that you give, you have no option to change after the IAQ, right? Maybe, and even during the DVV, they may ask you, it is not possible to change totally. Some changes, you can tell them this is the calculation that I formulated and all those things. But again, don't think that from IAQ, whatever document, whatever numbers that you give in IAQ, that you can be careful with that. So that is the reason I told you that take 1 year, prepare yourself, be thorough with that, and then go for IAQ submission. After that, it's only 45 days. Now, suppose if you are giving wrong information, what happened? You would have just check the Naac site. You will find that some of the colleges are disqualified. If you give wrong information, then you're disqualified. You will not be able to work on your SSR for a few years. And legal action also will be taken. Don't try to manipulate your information. Whatever you have, give it properly, right? If you are not good enough to present your SSR, IAQ, don't go for it. Make system clear and then do it. Otherwise, if you give wrong information and try to manipulate, you're going to be in trouble. There are colleges which has been banned. Just check the Naac website, you will see. So when you're getting actually the DV, you will get 15 days time to respond, and they would give you some calculation this side to find out whether it is correct or not. Now you can give a DVV reverse. You can tell them that this is how we have calculated, and they may accept it or they may not accept it. If they accept it, well, fine. If not, you will have to be satisfied with whatever they have accepted because you are not able to convince. Right now, for example, if the pre-qualification score of quantitative metrics is less than not 30%, it's 25%. Maybe you will have to apply for the accreditation to IAQ again. Apply till that all these things are correct. Otherwise, you may continue with your right. So DVV clarification again, it's done. Maybe 2 times you may have a DVV clarification. We had only once, but sometimes you may have it for twice. But now, even the twice also, if they're not convinced with your answer, there is a possibility. The possibility is that they will not accept it. So be careful with your DVV. Make, especially with the calculations, especially with the account statements and all those. The person who does your account statement has to be thorough with that. Now, there are other issues also. For example, one of the issues that you find is finance manager in your organization, and they would have accounted in a particular way. Now, they would have accounted it under different heads. There's a problem. You may not be able to get the required data from that. That again is a problem for you. So even those things also, look at the IIQA, discuss with the finance manager, look at the statements and find out what all things are available. And then based on that, make recalculations and submit to the finance manager. Ask him to separate all these things, get it certified here. If it is not being done, if the heading is not correct, then you are in trouble. So even those things also you need to work out. So in other words, what Naac is trying to do is, for example, you are conducting an FPP, right? Now, FPP has got an account. Now, instead of that, you are writing, instead of FTP, you are saying faculty training. Faculty training is separate. FTP may be separate. So you have to identify as to what is the thing that you are being asked by Naac, and then based on that, have account hit. Otherwise, you may not be able to justify. So be careful with that. Similarly, again, another thing that I was telling you, sharing it after some time, is basically, for example, your student gets actually a prize in 200 meters, let's say 200 meters sprint. Okay, the person has got this prize in one tournament, in one competition conducted by somebody. The same student gets again a first prize in another place. B gets another third prize, but we count it as only one. Your faculty goes for 5 FTP. Goes for FDP. And he goes for 5 FTPs. They will count it as one. You require only one. It is not, like you cannot go for 5 and say that, I have participated in this 5 can be counted. No. So these are all things that you need to work out. Okay, then there is something called as a student satisfaction survey. As I've told you in the beginning, students are an integral part of basic Naac. And the student satisfaction survey is important. So you have to go to the students and tell them that you will be getting that student satisfaction survey from Naac. You have to always make them aware. Why? Because if you do not make them aware, they will not open that mail and they will not give responses. As a result, what happens is your score comes down. And if your score is very less, possibly they will even take out. You will not get any marks. So it is very essential that you need to conduct a student satisfaction survey. Apart from that, you can also conduct actually satisfaction surveys in your college, so that the students become familiar with all this. So student satisfaction is very, very important. There are questions. You will get it from the website also. What are the questions? And you can even teach them and train the students, for the student satisfaction survey also. Again, for colleges, the responses should be received from at least 10% of the student population, or 100, whichever is lesser. For universities, 10% of the student population, or 500, which is lesser. whichever is less. And if the response rate is lower, then the limit, that the metric, you will lose marks for that. So one, students have to, there are two issues that can happen. One, you will find that students do not participate. That is a major problem. And sometimes students may not give good marks also. For that, you have to improve the quality. Quality and quantity do matter. Student satisfaction survey. Let us look at some few things regarding that. Who are all the stakeholders of an educational institution? We have the government. Our university, our college is basically affiliated to the University of Calicut, which is actually a government university. So the government has got a stake in that. Similarly, we are also getting our contracts and all those signed by the higher education department of the state government. So those documents have to be ready. Then colleges may have a management. Okay, that institution or the management may have a trust and all those. So that is another stakeholder. Then in an academic world, you have teachers and others all put together, academic teachers as well as administration. Then you have students. Another group is basically alumni, the students who have passed out of your college, employers who come and recruit your students, and society. That means, your people, society at large, actually people from the village or from the panchayat or maybe the district administration. They are also important. They are all important for us. They are the important stakeholders of the organization. Now, the college should have the following committee. For example, when you go for it, because these are all committees which are essential. They're all essential in the college. So, which are all the committees that are essential? Every college should have a governing council, and the governing council should meet at least once in a year. Okay, we have a governing council. We have established a governing council 5 years back, and this governing council meets every year, and we record that meeting, have minutes. Before that, we send when we send the letters, also we send the mail across to, or letters across to them. We put the agenda and all those things. Happens, minutes are recorded. We continue. So governing council, maybe members from, again, similar to as I told earlier, maybe members from academic fraternity can be there, members from the industry can be there, trust people. All those comprise basically of the government. Then within the college, you may have an academic council. And department wise, you have to form an academic council on how you are going to implement it. For example, I'll give you an example. For example, the governing council recommends that e-learning should be there in the college. Okay, so that is a recommendation which comes from the governing council. Now, who implements it? Basically, the council has to look into how it can be implemented, and the teachers can implement it, or maybe the structure, from the college you have a structure on how to. Similarly, board of studies. Whenever a new course or a new certificate or a diploma program that comes to it has to be approved by the board of studies. Without approval, you cannot actually give that course. Even when there is a change of syllabus from the university, that also has to be approved. Maybe the syllabus is changed, it comes directly from the university, but still in the college level, it has to be put before the board of studies. Similarly, in planning, we need to have financial planning. We need to have a finance committee. And this finance committee has to give actually the budget, and they should also come out with the report. So look at Naac. You would find that it's very transparent. See, there is no hiding. And Naac even suggests the payment should be through e-payment, online payment. So everything becomes actually transparent. So that is again that you would find one of the good things in Naac accreditation, that everything is basically transparent, it's open, people can view that, people can understand. So even the teaching, whatever courses that you have, the accounts are available. Similarly, the type of training program, people can view the entire system of the college can be viewed by the. Now, let us look at students, and their role as far as accreditation is concerned. Okay, what is the role of student as far as institutional and enhancement, quality enhancement is concerned. Students view on feedback, very, very important. You need to teach them on how to, how to respond to feedback. They have to all be continuously be given actually feedback on curriculum or any of those things, pertaining as far as the college is concerned, community programs, or maybe the type of certificate. Don't instruct any program or don't put anything on them. Put it across to them, get their feedback, then and work on how you and take a feedback. Similarly, ask them how you could. So student participation is very, very important in giving a feedback. Now, when they complete this course, you can ask them for a feedback on how what is the teaching learning process, or what did they learn out. All these type of feedbacks also can be. And if there is any concern that the students have, that also can be regarding infrastructure and all those, that also can be brought into this feedback. And this will definitely improve the quality also. So student participation is very, very essential in Naac. In fact, as I've told you, in the committee, in the IQAC, there should be actually one student. And the alumni also should be given importance. So students play a very important part as far as, because students are the stakeholders. And they are the people who are going to give name and fame for an institution. So they should be convinced about the role of. Then other stakeholders. Very important stakeholder is basically the alumni. Now, alumni moves from your college, he works in an industry. There are various methods by which he can support you. For example, he can come for recruitment. He or she can come for recruitment. They can interact with the current students. Okay, they can involve with the improvement of the organization, of the educational institution. They can contribute to the institution. In fact, several well-known universities have some of the great CEOs who would contribute. There are certain, when you go to some of these universities, you will find that these well-known like Satya Nadella. If you go to Bangalore, you would find that Satya Nadella's contribution as far as the university is concerned, and contribution in terms of facilities, in terms of placement, all these things. So for that, you need to have an alumni association, and alumni also contributes funds. So this fund should not be mixed up with the college fund. It should be separate. For that, you need to have a registered society. Whatever money is contributed by the alumni, put into audit those accounts, and that will definitely give you actually clarity on how you're utilizing the fund. Don't utilize the fund which is contributed by alumni towards college. Don't mix it. You can have facilities first, but don't mix up that money. That is different. You cannot adjust your revenue shortfall by using basically alumni. It's not allowed. So always try to have an alumni society. And if you do not have a society, they will also not. Okay, so this is not accepted because it is just something which you have created for a peer teams. That is not accepted. So try to have a formal alumni society. Then other committees, you can have a variety of company committees. I've given you some of the names of those committees like planning, evaluation, grievance redressal, examination committee, and anti-sexual harassment committee, extracurricular activity, all these type of committees, and you can have policies. So now committees have to meet, they have to have minutes recorded, and these should be presented. Why do we have committees? Is to make the system more democratic, transparent. Similarly, policies also guide us on how we could take the organization forward. So I have listed a lot of policies also here, and all these policies, and some of these policies can be there, but some of them like academic policy, admission policy, code of conduct, and all those things are necessary. Any college would have all these policies, but of course, Divyangajan is important, waste management is becoming a lot of important, water management, energy policy can be there, IT policy, and so most of these are important. And right now, many of these educations. First thing when you go for Naac process, download a copy of the Naac manual. Now, once you download a Naac manual, don't think that it is for the next 5 years it is going to be same. No, the Naac manual will get frequent updates. So you have to, the Naac coordinator's job is to see that they visit the Naac site and download the latest Naac manual. Why? Because points will change, the type of criteria will change. Because when in 2019, when we went for our first accreditation, Naac was accepting any books and chapters. Now, when we went for accreditation, books and chapters are accepted. The what do you call, the scoring has come down. Now they are only UGC. The other one, any paper that you submit was accepted, but now it is only UGC, Scopus, and all those things. And that too, again, UGC paper should be genuine UGC paper, because there are UGC papers, the name of UGC papers, which are not UGC papers. So they will check all these things, and your faculty also, tell your faculty also, very prudent in choosing which journal that they are published, whether it is a right UGC, whether it's a UGC journal which is right, or maybe something which is duplicate also. So be careful with that. Similarly, another one is DVV. Another one is DVV, data verification, validation, verification. See, long back when we went for Naac, this DVV was not there. And two things, advantage was there. One, we could, whatever questions that they were asking, we could write whatever answers we want. Now it is not like that. Now there is a DVV. That means for every question or most of these questions, there is a required answer which is required. With required answer, what documents are required, what documents are accepted. That is given in DVV. So a Naac coordinator and the criteria leaders should be very much aware about the Naac manual as well as DVV, without which you cannot progress, because you will be giving wrong information and you will not score any marks also. And now you would find that DVV and all is very, very clear. Right now, it is not difficult to understand DVV. Those days, we did not have either the knowledge or possibly it was not that clear. Nowadays, you would find that the system has become very clear. As a result, you will be able to get the right answer. What should be the right answer? You can prepare it. For that, DVV will support. And you can even calculate how much marks you get if you have this DVV input. Okay. Now, what are the things? And as I've already told you, you will require actually your affiliation letter, recognition letter, all those sort of Iiqa certificate. All these things are required. But how do we do this? The size of any document that you upload should not exceed more than 1 MB. And that too, you have to upload these documents using hyperlink. In fact, anyway, after the presentation is over, my colleague Jasir would also help you. Mohammed Jasir would support you or help you on how to create basically hyperlink that can be uploaded. Because you cannot, suppose if your document, if you have conducted, let's say you have conducted a under green initiatives, you have a lot of activities. What happens, you cannot upload all the data. So here actually you have to create it, this document has to be uploaded into your server, and the link and hyperlink, and this link should be sent across to Naac. Mind you, I'm again coming back to that Google Drive, Amazon Drive Cloud, nothing is accepted. You have to upload it in your server. You should have a proper server also. Server space should be there, and the server should be quite fast also, and server should be operational. Now, why I'm saying is because there have been cases where you may upload it in your server and the server doesn't open. Or maybe there are situations, where your server doesn't have speed or your server doesn't have space. Then also there is a problem. So you should have a proper server, and then your coordinator should have an excellent technical support from the IT department who would help you specifically on how you could upload your documents to your server if it is large. Smaller documents, of course, you can directly upload also. So that is again, that is what I've told you. Like the HEI port supports only IMB data. So that portal, so balance whatever total data that you have, we create it as a link and upload it. And third-party websites are not accepted. You have to have your own, or maybe you can host your website, and some of these can be put in your website, and that link also can be given. But again, your website also will be connected to the server. So basically, this good server is very, very essential as far as you are concerned. All right, then there are certain templates which are given by specific format. You cannot actually change the template. If you change the template, that template will not get uploaded. So whatever templates are there, you download it, fill up what is necessary, and upload it. If it is not uploaded, your data is not going to reach there, and you cannot go to the next step. Now, again, NACO's got a beautiful software. Again, that is something that you have to appreciate. Beautiful software, which will accept things in the best form. For example, as I've told you earlier, if your word system is defined, you cannot have 501 words. It will not accept. If your template changes, it will not get uploaded. So it's essential that you create, that you download those templates and give the right information in that place, or otherwise it will not get uploaded. That is again something that you cannot change the format or any of these things as far as the template is concerned. It will be accepted. Similarly, when a DVV is given, you have to answer all those clarifications. Then only you will be able to then only it will be accepted also. Now, suppose you may have documents in regional languages. Now, NAC doesn't know all the languages. The NAC partner, DVV partner, doesn't know all the languages. So your job is basically to translate that documents in English, and then the regional language copy also has to be uploaded. Both of them has to be uploaded. But there is something that is where you need to translate it and then upload it. Okay, all the documents that you submit should be signed and sealed by the competent authority. I mean, the principal, without which documents are not accepted. Because it is not signed, that means it is not acceptable. So the principal's role is very, very important. Principal should sign on those documents which are correct. If there is any false document that you upload, the principal is liable to answer for that. Okay, so principal has to verify the document, and then you should upload. Then geo-tagging. Nowadays, you cannot have any photograph anywhere. This is where earlier, this was not a feature for NAC. Now things have changed. Now, NAC will accept only geo-tag photographs. So you can take actually photographs using your camera. There are not all cameras to have the provision. Some cameras have the provision of connecting through online or internet, connect to the internet, and it will be able to identify the location from where we are taking the photograph. So either or otherwise, you can use your mobile phones also. Now, mobile phones you can put an app. GPS camera app is available from the App Store as well as in Google Play, and you can download that and using that camera take photographs. That will give you actually the latitude and longitude. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, when we go for criteria 4, my coordinator will definitely show you as to how geotag photographs are being used. So geotagging, very, very essential. And you have to use this, use either a camera or a smartphone, download the pictures. You will get actually POI text and all those things when you have downloaded. And that will give actually the latitude and longitude. In other words, GPS has to be utilized. Now, this gives authenticity in your information. Nobody can question your photograph. That is another. Now, there are certain questions, there are certain terms that you need to understand as far as NAC is concerned. For example, a program. Program is basically, for example, BSc in chemistry is basically the program, or MBA is basically a program. Okay, so this is basically the definition is that it is over a period of not less than 1 year when you give a number of subjects leading to a degree and a UG or a PG degree, then it is called as a program. And a course is something where you give a part of that program. For example, maybe 28 courses may constitute a program. For MBA, that is the case. Like 28 courses constitute a program. Now, course is something that you're subject. Maybe you may have a 4 credit or a 2 credit course, and based on that, the hours and all those things are there. So that is basically a course, and the total and the number of courses combined together gives awarding a degree, basically called as a. Similarly, gender equity is another word that I have mentioned here. And whenever you have a certificate program, suppose you will be giving add-on certificate programs, which gives value to the. So when you get into criteria 1 and 2, you will be learning about all certificate programs, because from the syllabus, the university has got a prescribed syllabus, especially for colleges which are affiliated to the university. University has got a prescribed, but maybe the syllabus may not have something latest. Some latest information may not be there. So when you do not have a latest information, the board of studies decide that you should give a separate certificate program to see that that the program is made complete. For example, in Calicut University, we do not have something connected with e-learning. E-commerce. We don't have. So what we do is actually we may give actually a, or maybe an analytics is not there. So we may give a certificate on analytics because it is very essential. Now, when you give this analytics program, you have to identify, the person, the agency which gives it has to ensure that there is a syllabus for it, there is a prescribed code for it, it has to have a duration of at least 30 hours, the credits, and what is the method of evaluation, everything has to be explained. Then only that add-on will be recognized. Otherwise, it is not. And this has to be approved by the Board of Studies also before, and minuted in your minuted as well as an approval has to be signed on the syllabus also, signature and all those. Now, suppose if you are giving an NPTEL program, it is not that because it's approved by the government or by the IITs. As a result, it is already endorsed. So if you can just give the code number of that particular syllabus, or they will accept it automatically. Otherwise, if it is not an NPTEL or not given by some agency, then it is a problem. Again, I will come to that later, but still let me inform you. Suppose if you are giving a subject from your own syllabus that is not accepted as an add-on program. Of course, tomorrow we will get into the diploma program. If you are giving, it has to be of at least 120 hours. Now, there are certain learnings that you need to have. I think I've shared 1 or 2 earlier. One student involved in multiple fieldwork or internship throughout the year will be counted as only one. See, this is where sometimes we go wrong. We may have 60 students, and maybe let us say around 25 students would have done 60 internships, 25 students. But that is not counted as 60, it is counted only as 25. How many number of internship or field work that a single student does? There is no maximum number is only 1. So that is again, you have to be careful with that. You may have number, you may not get the marks, right? Similarly, when you conduct a seminar or workshop, it should be on something related to intellectual property rights. Why? Because the government of India is now trying to improve on patenting new products and coming out with new products. That is basically the aim of that is one of the objective of the government of India. So you need to make our students aware on intellectual property. So one of your seminars or conferences should have basically intellectual property rights, or maybe sometimes innovation practice. For example, demonetization has come into this country. So people are not very much aware about it. So here, you could actually have that seminar or a conference because it's a new, but something old topics and all maybe sometimes may not be it. So you have to look at intellectual property rights. It continuously changes also. So there are various venues also on which you could conduct. So try to have subjects or your workshops or seminars on intellectual property rights or innovation practices. Then another one is regarding publication. The UGC approved journals. My criteria 3 leader will give you more information on that. UGC, because now there that is again another domain which is getting actually a lot of people are getting cheated. Why? Because there are journals which are not UGC but coming under the garb of UGC. So be careful with that because when this UGC, you may feel that is a UGC or maybe it is written there. But when you give it to the website, if it is not approved, you're going to lose marks. Similarly, if at all you're giving publications or book publications or chapters, it should have ESPN, otherwise it is not accepted. MOUs. Your organized, their institution should have MOUs. MOUs can be used for a variety of purposes, right from industrial visit onwards to training and maybe to placement or skill training. You can use MOUs. But when you give your MOUs also, if it is for 3 years, it is counted only as 1 year. You cannot have for all 3 years. It is not possible. Similarly, another area is basically ebooks. Maybe some of us may not buy actually ebooks, but we may get scanned copies of the books. Now those are not considered to be ebooks. Ebooks are separate, and all the publishers have. Most of these publishers right now have ebooks, which can be accessed through your laptop or through your mobile phone also. But you need to have a subscription, and whenever you subscribe for anything, you need to have a bill in the name of your college. Again, a very important document. My criteria for leader would come and talk to you about all those things also. Without a bill, if you are buying books, you have to get a bill, and that it should be a name somewhere. Again, sometimes what happens, these are all from experiences. The college, we have 2 colleges in the campus. One is called as Naipunya Institute of Management and Information Technology, and the other is called as Naipunya Business School. There are bills, which we get from publishers written as Naipunya College. Is there a Naipunya College there? There's no Naipunya College. But unfortunately, people have a habit of writing wrong things. Naipunya College is not there. There are only 2 institutions. One is called as Naipunya Institute of Management and Information Technology. Other is called as Naipunya Business School. We don't change that. So if their bill is not correct, take it back to the party. So you are making whenever you do this accreditation, so you are all correcting many things, which is happening for a long time. Similar is the case with students, like your faculty members attending more than one professional development program in a year also is only counted as only one, even though they attend several. Scoring. So here actually pre-qualifier visit for peer team visit is 25% of the system generated. Usually it's around 70% of the score you get it from the SSR and 30% from the ETV. Okay, SSR has got both qualitative and quantitative. I've already told you. Then maximum weightage of metrics that can be opted out shouldn't exceed more than 33%. But 127 criteria 127, you will not be able to opt out from that. My IQC coordinator also will be sharing about all these things. I'm just giving information about this. You will get a detailed information when you go to the criteria tomorrow. Okay, and that is scoring. And then this is basically the type of score that we have. 3.51 to 4 is A++. Your institution is in the top. 3.26 to 3.50 is A+. 3.1 to 3.01 to 3.25 is A. 2.76 to 3.00 is B++ where we are. 2.51 to 2.75 is B+. 2.01 to 2.50 is B. 1.51 to 2 is actually C, and less than 1.5 is not accredited. So you can all work towards accreditation. Accreditation is not something which is for only one college or for prestigious colleges. In our locality also, for example, we belong to Thrissur district, but in Thrissur district border. But in Ernakulam, we have Rajagiri College scoring 3.78 out of 4 in their accreditation, getting an A++. They can get it, but we also did not fall short of it. They are doing it for the 4th time. We are doing it for the 1st time. See, they got a very good grade. That doesn't mean that you should know you cannot get it. Really, if you put in your heart and spirit into this, all of us can get a good grade. And it is not just usually we say that getting passing is not the ultimate. Okay, or getting a very good mark is not the ultimate. It is where you put your heart and soul into that. You are bent on improving your process. You're bent on improving your quality. That is what it is. What do you contribute to the students? How do they change? What are the things that you have helped them to improve in life? All those things. Not just the grades or of course grades do matter, because it is basically an agency which informs, which gives you, which is giving you credentials for your performance. Good. It is very, very good. But that is not the only thing, because now what I have found is, we have had a lot of calls from external agencies telling us, that they would come and they would support us in accreditation. They have consultants, and I'm not against all this. But what I'm trying to say is, try to put your heart and soul. A consultant would come and give you ideas on how you could improve this course, but you may not imbibe that into your heart. Unless and until you do not imbibe the true spirit of Naac into your life, you will never be able to contribute your best to it. So put in your best. Try to learn. Try to understand what can improve. Try to identify new methods of providing a result. Try to be as creative as possible. Try to find out what are the outcomes that you can generate, and learn and understand and correct yourself. Improve on yourself. Change. See the change, what happens to students. Definitely, you will get more satisfaction. That's what Naac wants. Anything after a certain period of time, the system, we have systems, and that systems will sometimes take out the spirit. Let that not happen to any one of you. Learn, make your faculty passionate about accreditation, not just getting the numbers, but make them passionate about teaching. See, these are all methods for improving the teaching learning process and outcomes. So if you are able to give that, contribute that, definitely you will have very good outcomes as its own. You don't have to really work for it. When you start giving your best, outcome comes automatically. You don't have to do anything else. You just have to put in your best every day into the application process. You will get. Thank you very much. It was wonderful to have interacted with each and every one of you. I will now share. I will ask my colleague Jasir, would be be able to support you on this hyperlink. For example, when you want to upload your document, this hyperlink, which is important, he will give you a demonstration of that, and definitely that will help you also. He will be sharing with you on how to make use of that. If you have got any questions, you can put it in the chat box, and we will try to answer. However, we will be here up to 4 o'clock, and after that, maximum is 4 o'clock. If you've got any questions, box, our team would definitely support you in those questions. Thank you. Over to you, Jasir. One second. Yeah, Yasser is getting ready with the document as well as he has to get some documents. So it's there, it's coming through. If you've got any questions, you can put it in the chat box.
So, good afternoon all. So as Jacob sir and mentioned regarding the links which we need to provide, so I would like to explain to an example. So since I was handling the criteria 6, so there is a question in 6.3.1 which is related to the welfare measures for teaching and non-teaching staff. So there are 3 parts in that question. That is, the first part is we can describe the answer in 500 words, and second one we can upload the documents, and third one paste any additional links for the information. So suppose in our college we have 21 faculty and staff welfare measures. So for each one, I have to upload supporting documents. For example, the first one is even self-development program and training and higher educations. So for this one, we have 5 different programs for teaching and non-teaching. So for each programs, I have to give the supporting documents. So it will look like this. So I will show you how we can do this. These are the different programs which we have organized over here. So these are the different programs going on here: RISE, teachers training, non-teachers training, faculty feedbacks. Likewise, there are different programs. Like for the 21 faculty welfare measures also have different documents. So how we can give it is, first we need to have the document. For example, I can give here the leave facilities. The third question or the third welfare measure is leave facilities available for the faculties and non-teaching staff. So the documents which I would like to upload over here is the HR policy. So first, I want to upload that HR policy in a server that's already Jacob sir mentioned. It is not a third-party server like Google Drive or Amazon or Microsoft Drive. We have to hire a space or drive space. And based on that, our college team developed a system like this for the easy uploading and easy retrieval of files as per the requirement. So in this server, we are uploading it. I'm just giving it as an example. If it is required, I can connect with the technical team for this one. For example, if I'm uploading this for the academic year 2020-21, and which criteria it belongs, here, criteria 6, then it comes under which criteria, sub criteria. For example, it's 3. Okay, and the title, if it is welfare measures for the faculties. So I'm just giving right now for it is a welfare W&M, welfare measures for the faculties. And the date, and now date February 8th, 2022. Just an example, remarks I'm saying again, welfare measures for faculties and non-teaching staff. So here there are 2 files which we need to upload. This is, in this case, we can go with the 2 files. One is PDF file and the document file. That means a Word file. What is the purpose is, once we are only uploading PDF files, and further later if we need to make any changes, then we have to search for the document or the Word file. So if the facility is available when we are uploading both the PDF and Word file, it will be very easy for us for understanding and getting the required document when it is needed. So for this example, I'm selecting the file which the HR policy is over here. So I am uploading this file. Okay. So once I upload it, let me clear it. Okay, it's taking some time. 1 second. Okay, I'm doing it once again. Just 1 second. Okay, as I said, if I upload it, I can get a link over here. So that link, I can copy that link and I can put, for example, these are the different documents which all I uploaded. So this is the link which I uploaded right now for 3.1, for 6.3 criteria, 6.3.1. So which is related to welfare measures. So I can copy this link. So by copying this link, I can directly move to the area where I want to paste it. And here we can directly paste it like this, but when it is selecting, it will be difficult. So for that purpose, we can go with hyperlink. That is, in the top portion of insert, there is a head called link or hyperlink. In different versions of Microsoft, it will be different. Here it is hyperlink. Sometimes it may be link only. So select the hyperlink. There are two options to put on the top and down. In the down area, we have to give the address which we have copied from the, and the top or the title or the top side, this portion we can rename it what we want to see in that box. For example, here I'm just writing HR policy. So if I'm entering OK, so this is the hyperlink which I created right now. So by clicking this or by pressing control, it will move, it will lead to the page or the document which I uploaded right now like this. So this is how we need to upload all the documents, or we have to create the hyperlink and we have to submit it. So very simple. First, we have to upload the file in a server which we are hired and copy that link, put here. Instead of just pasting that, just go to the hyperlink, insert the address, and in the name, you can write what you want to see in the table or in the text. So here it is. So likewise, we have to, for example, in this case, as I mentioned, we have 20 plus welfare measures. So that's not possible to list all the documents in a single file, like screenshot, photographs. The sizes will be very high. So this is the best method which we can follow, and the size will be very less, but it contains all the details. The Naac peer team or the DVV evaluators can easily understand what it related, and they can easily get the supporting documents also. So this is how we can do it. And the second part is, in other than making hyperlinks, we can prepare a same document by giving sample copies of each one, just one page, or just sample copies of photographs or reports, one pages. So that is another document which we can also use for it. But as Jacob sir mentioned, it can't be exceed by 5 MB in each metric. So this is regarding how we can set hyperlink, which is for the Naac uploads. If you have any query, you can clear it now. Okay, thank you.
See, whenever, whichever committee that you're there at the college, you will have basically the principal as the head. As whichever committee you have. So that is something that I think this is a letter by Punit Batra. So Constitutional Finance Committee principal should be there. IQSC coordinator, TAG coordinator. We have to separate otherwise, both of them together. One finance manager has to be there, and then faculty members who are proficient in finance and auditing. These are the people who should be there. For example, when you look at corporate governance, whenever a company appoints auditors, internal auditors usually are people who are having knowledge on accounting and auditing. Auditing. Similarly, if you need to have, like we need to have, principal always should be there. Apart from that, QSC coordinator, finance manager, all those people should be there, and some faculty members who are professional in finance and accounting. Okay. Yeah.
So
I have one. Yeah. Back.
Okay. Anita ma'am was asking about how do we get the form for uploading the details. Actually, that's not a form. We hired the server, we hired the space from server, and what the interface, what you've seen is developed by our IT department. So based on the NAT requirement, we created that interface and system software so that we can easily upload the file and we can easily retrieve the files. If somebody want to make some changes, they can easily get that file. So that what we are created, not something we bought from. We just bought the server, the space from server, and other things we have developed. Ma'am, the Word document, which the table contains all the details and all the items and which we are pasting the link, that is, we want to create based on the criteria, what are the supporting documents included that. As per that, we have to create a table in the left side or left column. The first column, we can list out the activities, reports, what are the heads comes under, and the right column, that means the second column, we can put the links towards the supporting documents. It may be a direct link from the website or any uploaded files link. That's also fine.
Let me also inform you that if you want any support in this regard, also we have a dedicated IT team who can help you with this. We have a full-fledged IT team who takes care of our websites and the server and all those. So if you want any support, you're always welcome. We are there with you. Over to my IQS, Courtney.
Any other doubts? Anybody has got any other queries? So shall we wind up the session then? Okay, so anyway, we are winding up today's session. I thank Dr. Jacob PM for handling the session for this FDP. And I also thank all the participants for joining.